Hi, I'm Magid Jim Brule. I use stories to help with inspiration, spiritual healing, spiritual transformation, really. And sometimes I use stories that lighten the heart. Sometimes I tell stories that challenge us. Today, I need another kind of story. It's a story about two great friends, two great Rebbes, Rebbe Volker and the Kotzker Rebbe. Now, they were great friends, but they had very different approaches to approaching the spiritual. And they were so different that their disciples really didn't get along at all. But the two of them, they were fast friends. So you see, Rebbe Volker, well, he wanted to pursue love. The Kotzker Rebbe, he wanted to pursue truth. Now, marrying these together was a great thing, and I think that's why their friendship was so strong. But again, there was a lot of dissension amongst their ranks. Nevertheless, the two of them wrote to each other frequently. In fact, every day. They would write their thoughts, their prayers, their concerns. Now, Reb Volker, he had a son, Mendele, also a great Rebbe in his time. And he saw the great friendship that these two men had. And he had a similar closeness, if not a more intense one, with his father. And so they began writing letters as well. It was really a wonderful thing. Father and son writing letters to each other, and what amounts to brothers writing to each other. Now, as it happens, one day, as happens to all of us, Rebbe Volker died. And after the period of mourning was over, Mendele noticed that he wasn't getting any more letters from his father. Now, you have to understand that at that time and in that place, people had a different closeness to Olam Haba, the world to come. And it was perfectly reasonable that Mendele should expect to continue to receive some letters from his father. And he waited another 10 days and approached his good friend, the Kotzker Rebbe, and said, Rebbe, I'm concerned. It's been 40 days and I haven't had a single letter. The Kotzker Rebbe said, neither have I. I'm also concerned. Let me investigate. And so the Kotzker Rebbe made what's known as a soul ascent. He let his soul leave his body and ascend up into that other world. Now, at that time and in that place, people had certain beliefs about what that other life was like. Everyone went to some kind of heaven, and they were ensconced in some kind of building that corresponded to the worth of their lives, the good they had done. And the Kotzker Rebbe knew that his brother was a very great man, so he ascended high. And first he came to the palace of Rashi, the great commentator. And for an hour or two, he was kind of distracted. I mean, here was a chance to study with Rashi. Oh. But he remembered his mission, and he approached Rashi, and he said, have you seen my friend, Yitzhak Volker? Rashi looked at him and said, oh, yes, I did see him. He stopped ever so briefly, but he continued to ascend. So the Kotzker Rebbe continued his ascent, and he ascended further and further until he got to the palace of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher. And here he was distracted for days to study with Moshe. But then he remembered and he said, "Oh, holy teacher, I'm looking for my friend, Rebbe Yitzhak of Vorki. Have you seen him?" "Oh, yes. He passed through here, but he was ascending further." Well, he gathered himself together and he rose further still until he came to the palace of Abraham Avinu, Abraham, our father. Who knows how long he waited there, basking in the presence. But finally he remembered and he asked, he said, "Oh, holy Father, I'm looking for my friend, Rebbe Yitzhak of Vorki. Have you seen him?" Because in truth, he couldn't imagine him ascending any higher than that. And Abraham Avinu looked at him, said, "Yes, I remember him well." But he didn't ascend further. He didn't. No. If you want to find him, I can tell you where to go. Yes, please. Where is he? Go down back to earth, into that very, very dark forest. You'll find him there. Kotzker Rebbe was confused. How could this be? He'd never heard of such a place, and why had he not ascended further or stayed there? But now he had to know it. And he made the descent back to earth, and he made his way to this dark forest. And he could feel his friend's presence in the distance, drawing him closer to him. And so as he walked step after step, he could feel that force getting stronger. And yet ahead, there seemed to be a clearing. And in that clearing, he saw water. At first he thought it was maybe a small lake. But as he drew closer and closer to it, he saw that it was, in fact, a great body of water, an ocean even. And the waves were crashing on the shore. And every time a wave crashed, there would be weeping. The waves were crying and the spray was heading up back to the heavens. And as it got closer and closer, the pain of those waves crashing was harder and harder to bear. Until finally he looked down the beach and there was his friend, Rebbe Vorki, leaning on a stick, looking down at the water. He made his way over to him under the weight of those waves, those wailing waves, as best he could. And finally he reached him and he took him by the shoulders and he said, "Dear friend, my dear brother, what are you doing here? What is this place?" Rebbe Vorki looked at him tears running down his eyes. This is the ocean of tears. These are the tears of all the innocent. These are the tears shed by those who did not deserve. These are the tears that try to reach up to heaven and yet they fall short. And as I ascended, I told the Holy One that I would ascend no further, that I would come down and stand here with these tears until he dried up every one of them. Our tradition teaches us that the cries of the innocent can reach heaven. And when we hear tears, we can act for heaven and help dry them. We can help bring redemption to the whole world if we'll just stop and pause and care for those in pain.